If you have not yet read this first bullet for of the study guide with respect to intellectual virtue and what is being pulled from Unit 2, Task 2, go ahead and read the bullet and pause, and then I'm going to make sure that you understand what I'm getting at. Okay, so assuming that you have read this, when I say that I might post a lesson that you should have worked through during Task 2, I have posted it here. This is the actual folder. I'm inside the folder for Unit 3, Task 3A, so this is the test prep folder. This is where you got the study guide. And then notice here I say all coaching videos and mini lectures. Okay, so don't worry about that. This is what you need from Task 2 of Unit 2 for some test items on intellectual virtue to do well on not only the Unit 3 test, but also the Unit 4 test. So you might as well go ahead, if you haven't done so already or you lost it, get the study guide. And then I only included the video links that you needed for the remaining tests. There was a written lecture and an additional video for Task 2 of Unit 2, but I tested you on that information only during the Unit 2 test. Nevertheless, there were a couple of videos relative to the study guide for Task 2 from which you need to have specific detailed information for all of the tests. So I've done the courtesy of copying the links to this information here in case you didn't get to it or you did not work through Task 2 as directed. All right, so that's where you'll go to study for this part. I can tell you that in the test, let me actually back up here. When it comes to what is covered in here, I can tell you that there will be a multiple fill in the blank with respect to a definition, a revised definition that I gave you for the words intellectual virtue. So you'll find that in the Step 2 video. So there's a multiple fill in the blank. Students who tended to lose the most points for the Unit 2 test tended to give irrelevant answers or words, type up irrelevant words from multiple fill in the blank having to do with intellectual virtue or any other test item for that matter. So it's really important to make sure you're using study guides and questions and taking notes and answering questions and prompts and study guides to make sure that you have the information that you need. So you know that you have a multiple fill in the blank based on the wording that I give you for intellectual virtue from the Step 2 video, and I showed you where that was, but if you're following this video, you should have already known where that information is. I can tell you that I'm also going to have a multiple choice item that focuses on what I said about the concept of a disposition when I was going over in the Step 2 video how I wanted you to think about the words intellectual virtue or the concept of intellectual virtue in this class. So even if you watch that video, you might want to go back and take really good notes and see what I said about disposition. What is that word? What does it mean? How does it relate to the concept of intellectual virtue? Because you're going to have a multiple choice item on that one as well. What other hints and clues can I give you? Okay, so then from the step, let me see, which video are we at here? So answers for 16-minute Step 2 video. Okay, and then from the Step 4 video, which is only 7 minutes, I'm going to have a number of true-false questions or items, and I think that the study guide that goes with this, it has the true-false questions in there. So definitely invest your time in that. I might not give you all of the true-false items, but I'm going to give you at least 2 of the true-false items from the study guide that went with Step 4 of Task 2 from Unit 2. And again, you can get what you need for this from within the Unit 3 test prep folder. Go ahead and record it because you can use those answers for the next test as well. All right, so then moving to this part right here, if you haven't read it yet, go ahead and pause the video and read this or reread this to refresh your memory as to what is on here. Assuming that you have read through this or refreshed, I'm going to go ahead and give you hints and warnings and tips with respect to this part of the test. So when I am referring to this part, I am talking about a task that you should have completed prior to getting to this video and the Task 3 folder. So recall that the very first thing you were supposed to do during Unit 3 was learn more about intellectual empathy and intellectual perseverance. In green, I told you that you needed this information for the tests that are coming up. So here's the step 1 video that focuses on intellectual empathy. And then here are the study questions. And then again, here's another video focusing on intellectual perseverance, and then the study questions. So for all of Unit 3, you can see that when it came to new lessons before the test, there was less than an hour of new videos, and I gave you study questions. You might need this during the Unit 4 test. I might have some like overall comprehensive questions about what you learned about the intellectual virtues more in depth. So it pays to go ahead and work through these questions so that you're not doing that later. Let me go ahead and give you some more hints and tips when it comes to the test items that are going to be focused on task 1 of Unit 3. So I'm pulling up the test right now. I'm actually looking at the test. You are going to have a multiple choice item. So I'm right here. You're going to have a multiple choice item from task 1 of Unit 3 that is focused on the concept and lesson on intellectual empathy. I will be looking to make sure that you have a clear and accurate and precise understanding of what intellectual empathy is and what it is not. In the lesson, I went over mistakes or, errors that people make with respect to their takeaways from the definition and lesson for intellectual empathy. So you might get examples or paraphrasing of the definition that goes with intellectual empathy. Keep in mind that the slide that you see in the video will not be enough to make sure you understand what it is you need to understand about intellectual empathy more in depth than what you understood in virtue of a Unit 1 soft talk module. So make sure you actually follow the video and answer those study questions. Those study questions are designed to make sure that you're prepared for test items. But again, you're going to get a multiple choice item for that. You'll also get a like item for the video that goes with intellectual perseverance. Again, checking your understanding for intellectual perseverance. What I just said about intellectual empathy and what it's checking for and how it works and how it relates to the videos also applies to your multiple choice item on intellectual perseverance. So there's at least one multiple choice item focused just on intellectual empathy and just on intellectual perseverance. Another clue that I'm going to give you is that there will be 2 multiple fill in the blanks. One will be focused in terms of this content here. There'll be more in the test. So the one that has to do with intellectual empathy is going to be worth 5.5 points. So use the study guide and really listen to what I say in the video. Take lots of notes. And then you should be able to find the information that you need for the test item. But let me give you an example of a fill in the blank. The very last fill in the blank item, I think I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 words in the multiple fill in the blank for intellectual empathy. Let me give you an example of the last bulleted item, the last 3 words that you need to fill in. So it says, for example, during Unit 2, we had to use intellectual empathy to make sure we had a clear, accurate, precise understanding of you, and then there's 3 words. So you should know from the lesson, because I was really clear about, like I kept repeating, like you need to know this, you need to, I really emphasized knowledge of certain things. You should have this in your notes from the study guide if you did this. You'll also have a multiple fill in the blank for intellectual perseverance. Again, that comes straight from the video, straight from the study guide. That one's going to be worth 4 points. So when it comes to this topic, you have multiple fill in the blank that's worth 9.5 points. And as I've stated before, and I'm going to say this only for this item, and this what I say now will apply for all the other test items in the Unit 3 test as it did for Unit 2. Multiple fill in the blank are usually based on videos, but sometimes the lessons, and I do not provide word banks. So you have to know what the answer is by looking at your notes or through recall. So the intellectual perseverance one, a multiple fill in the blank, is going to be 4 points. You have to have listened and followed the video and responded to the test questions. That one is going to have, I believe, 8 words that you need to type in. I'm going to go ahead and give you one of the sentences that has 3 words or 3 spaces in which you need to type in 1 word. It says intellectual perseverance was a must when it came to working through all of the video-based lessons and instructions for the. So that is very close to what I actually said in the video, in the second video for task 1 of Unit 3. I pretty much said just that sentence. So there's a fill in the blank. There's three words you should know the answer to by the time you get to the test, because I just gave you one of the multiple fill in the blank items. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to include. Yes, there will be one other item that actually goes with up here and a general understanding of intellectual virtue, and it'll be a multiple choice. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm lying. There is one more multiple choice, but it has to do with what's down here. And it's going to have to do with what I stressed at the end of the lecture of intellectual perseverance. It's in your study guide. If you do the study guide, you should be able to get the correct answer to this multiple choice item. But some extra hints and clues are that it has to do with what I said about personhood, character, true understanding, and those kinds of concepts. So these are your hints and coaching for these items here.